like general builder, all-around kind of guy for the team.
I'm Lydia. I'm a sophomore, and I'm the builder for the main builder for the team.
I'm Jorge Sasota. I'm the second driver. We have 2 controllers and also a builder for the team.
My name is Kelsey Farrow, and I am the logbook keeper, and I do a lot of the building as well.
Alright, so I think we're going to throw this off a little bit to what we normally do. So I think we're going to work around as a team instead of based on the robot. You guys kind of see we have a decent robot. I feel like that's understandable where we've gotten our skills and stuff. But a lot of people don't understand how the teams work and stuff. And that's a really big factor to how we got here and how we do well throughout the season. So if you want to start off with that.
I think that team success is centered around the team. I think that with all of the things that we've done this year, every single step, every little mistake, everything, every step in the engineering design process has led us to the success that is this robot today. There's hundreds of man hours into the robot, and I think it's really paid off to not only keep a lab book that allows us to, one of the questions one of the judges has asked us in the past was, what would you do if you were to add another team? Is your notebook up to speed enough that another person could look at it and join your team right away? And I think that we really have done a good job with keeping track of all of the successes and failures that we've made within this robot.
And we've gone through lots of different designs at this point, and our robot's name is Jenny. And so I like to say that you can see her pretty much from her birth up until where she is now. So all the design that we've gone through, designing the chassis, designing our mobile roll lift, designing our scissor lift, designing this lift, designing this intake, everything that has gone into this robot has been talked through as a group at some point, and we document our ideas, we document, what problem do we need to solve, what, just everything that goes into creating a design.
Yeah, and I think one big thing as a team is communication. I don't know about other teams, but our team, we have a group chat. We're regularly talking to each other about things that might be changed, improved upon, and anything. And another thing is we have basically a big old whiteboard in our shop that's our team only. And so on that we have all sorts of things, from different physics calculations for the robot to different general ideas, seeing what might work, what won't, giving it a generalized idea. Bringing in a lot of experience to see other students and stuff that have been in the program. We can look at it and be like, oh, this won't work because these pieces don't mesh together properly, or you're gonna have to modify this to make it work. And so just one big, huge collaboration to get to where we are today.
And mostly since me and Chris are the seniors in the class, we're kind of trying to teach them, like pass on the torch type of thing. So like when we're gone, we still have a good competition, right? At Caldwell, we're trying to keep our competition, right? And so the thing we're trying to teach them mostly is most of the basics. Really the people, some of the advanced things in a robot are great on, but if you get the basics down, the best that makes everything work more smoothly.
And going off that, our teacher likes to say the best mediocre robot will probably win. So even if it's not like a fantastic, perfectly built, perfectly engineered robot, if you have a mediocrely built robot and you just drive the crap out of it, figure out what breaks and why it breaks, fix those little issues, and just keep driving it, you're gonna have a really fast, really competitive robot throughout the season. And so that's one thing we've kind of done mostly.
I think one of the things that we've been able to do pretty well is Chris and George knew each other before. They'd been on teams before, they'd worked together before, and the same with me and Lydia. So it was like 2 great pairs. Me and Lydia's skills complement each other, George and Chris's skills complement each other. And so once we put all 4 of us together, I think it was a great way of, we haven't done a lot of arguing because we've all been on the same intelligent wavelength that compromise is a huge aspect of building a robot and being a team. And I think because we put the two sets together, I think it's made for the best team we can hope for.
And if we do have different ideas throughout, the design process, because obviously even though we do think alike, and Kelsey and I will trust their expertise in the areas, that they know best, like designing the scissor lift. But as we come up with different ideas, we've learned to talk through them, and we've learned to, it's hard to say, I want to attach this piece here, and I want to put a screw here. It's hard to articulate it through words. So we've learned how, we've drawn pictures, we've done diagrams, and it's really helpful in this program to understand how to articulate your ideas beyond inside your own head, because it can be quite difficult when you're trying to explain something that makes perfect sense to you, but to the others it's a bit confusing and they don't really understand where you're getting at.
And for 4 of us, I think that it's good because we all have different resources and we all come from different enough backgrounds that we just complement. Like one person comes up with an idea, the next person adds on to it and gives feedback, and then the next person is able to add on and give feedback. And I think that's honestly really great. And I think that that coming up with ideas that way is the best way to it, because 2 people on a team is really, really, really tough because there's only 2 people and there's only so many people to do the work. 3 people is probably just the right amount for building and having everything divided evenly, but having 4 people makes it really, really nice because 2 people can be working on one subject and you have someone to bounce ideas off of. So me and Chris can work together, and these 2 can work together, and then I could work with George, and we're all just kind of sharing ideas, and then it makes it easier for us to communicate, like Chris
You
said.
guys have been talking about how you guys have been going through some trials and things, and some processes and dealing with the design of this robot. Can you guys give me a specific example of what you guys have gone through and how that
One example. One example is Kelsey talked about how George and I were on a team earlier. Our freshman year, we had to play the game Skyrise. I don't know if you're familiar. You pick up a bunch of really heavy cones, dump them on posts. That year, our team decided to go with a scissor lift, and so that's kind of what expertise goes in. We've already built a scissor lift. We know the quirks and the little tweaks and the little, all the small things you have to get to figure out and make it work well. We already knew that, so we already went in with an advantage in the game. So that's really important, and just being able to trust each other's expertise and experience them. So this is our drive. You can see it's pretty speedy. It's a little bit slower on the carpet just because it's not the same playing surface we're used to. We have our mobile goal intake. We can go and pick up mobile goals, keep them in ourselves. We have our lateral lift for the majority of our height.
And then when we've captured a mobile goal in here, George's part is that he can move up, and where he has a cone right here, drop it into the mobile intake.
Straight
Do you
down.
guys find having two people control the machine easier or harder?
Well, so me and him both play games, so I guess we kind of know what to do. So like, if I see him going for something, I know that he's gonna go for it, so I try to go off what he's gonna do.
So another big, breakdown. Sorry. Sorry.
It's just like, it was way easier thinking about it when you're with 2 people, because like if you ever played like a shooting like Call of Duty, like you always think about like the shooting expert, and you have like 2 shooting experts on here, so you have to think about like where you're gonna have to shoot, because 2 things that pop out, there's 2 things that go up, so it was really hard thinking about it. So I really have to for me, I really just go off of what he's doing. So if I feel like he's gonna go for that, which he usually does, because he literally goes forward to it, and I literally just go down, pick it up,
When they do a lot of whispering, like they're constantly talking to each other, even if it's just like verbal, like grunts or like even if they have to just make weird noises. I think they kind of have a little language going.
We've established our own language. Don't ask about it. We're not going to disclose that. It's only between us. So it's like yeah. But yeah, at our first tournament, we tried having just one driver, and it just did not work out. So we have one lift there. George has one lift.
Makes it easier to multitask.
And we have one intake down here and another intake at the top. And then we have also the drive. So that's 5 subsystems that we really have to control. Both him and I have experience in previous Vex years playing robotics and being the driver on our team. And so we find that those skills already help us, but in the previous years you've only had like 2 or 3 subsystems that you have to control. This year you have a significant amount more, which makes it a lot nicer having 2.
But some people don't have all these subsystems, but for us, we find that it's worth it to have a mobile goal intake and have a cone intake, because there are other teams, that may just be a mobile goal intake where they can only stack cones. But with us, even if we have a partner that's disabled or they, they aren't doing very well, their robot is having problems, we can suffice for our own. And even though it's a lot more to keep track of, it's worth having 2 people drive it because there's just so much and one person would get overwhelmed.